Hey there, my name is Brendan Miller. I've been a worship leader for about 15 years. My wife and I helped start a church here in our hometown about 15 years ago. The worship team that I am blessed to lead, the core of that team has been together for about 7+ years. Some of the members as long as 12 to 13 years. Just some great people, some of the best friends that I have. And I love them dearly. And throughout these how many videos, I would love to just share some of the stuff I've learned. And in this first one today, I want to talk about 3 things that I wish I would have known when I first started leading worship. And we're going to get into the first one. Don't sweat the small stuff. I'm sure that seems kind of like, well, duh. And it should. But, human beings, we have a tendency to take very small things and just blow them out of proportion. A perfect example of that is this past weekend at church. We had our entire in-ear system go down, and unfortunately, we weren't able to fix it before we had to start leading. So, as worship leaders in moments like that, it's our job to not portray any sort of panic or frustration to the team. It's our job to just step up and say, hey, here's what we're going to do. Let's do it. And also in that, it's on your team to be prepared in those moments, because those are the true tests. Are we prepared? Do we know our parts? Do we know the song? And I got to tell you, we totally nailed it, leading worship without in-ears, to the point where the drummer, a friend of his from work, had come to church, and they were just talking, and he had mentioned the drummer had mentioned what happened, and this guy from the drummer's work was just like, I didn't even notice anything was wrong. So, mission accomplished. And in that, another quick note, that 9 out of 10 times if something goes wrong during one of your services, musically, whatever, chances are the worship team is really the only ones that are going to actually notice. So always keep that in mind. Don't sweat the small stuff. Number 2, excellence is the goal, not a requirement. And what I mean by a goal and not a requirement is that excellence should be something that we always strive for, that we are always working to improve, that we're always looking to be better musicians and leaders, and not a requirement, meaning that it's not a requirement to join the team per se. My heart is that if somebody would like to be on the worship team, that I would take someone with an ounce of talent and tons of heart versus somebody that's got tons of talent and an ounce of heart, because it's very difficult to teach someone the true heart of worship, more so than it is to, bring somebody's best musical ability out. Give me somebody that's got a heart for worship with decent musical ability any day over the best musicians ever who don't understand worship. And I'd love to get into that. Let's get into that down the road. Tip number 3, this kind of bounces off the last one. Don't critique more than you contribute. Worship leaders, I'm going to tell you, one thing that I was blessed to have been told by those that have led me is that worship leaders should be the single most prepared person that sets foot on the platform with regards to the worship team every week. And that means as much as you possibly can, know the parts of each instrument. And I'm not saying know how to play them, because not all of us play all of the instruments, but know dynamics, know when people are supposed to come in so you can help with cues if needed during rehearsal, whatever the case. And even more important than that is important. More importantly, worship leaders, be spiritually prepared. How do we do that? That means that the songs that we've selected throughout the week, we're worshiping with them throughout the week. We're allowing God to speak to us through those songs. We're asking God, what do you want to speak to the people that you've trusted me with, that you've trusted their time to me? How do you want me to speak to them? What do you want to speak through me for them to hear during that time of worship? So spiritually prepared by worshiping with the songs, but also being in the Word consistently, being in prayer consistently, praying for the congregation, praying for God to give you a word for the people in those moments where you know that He's moving and that He is working. So worship leaders, it's on us to be the most prepared spiritually, musically, every time that we set foot. Now, that's not to say that, we're going to get things right every time, but what did we start out with? Don't sweat the small stuff. So, man, I just hope that these short tips have been a help to you. Leave me a comment, whatever you want. Send me a message. Hit that like button, and hopefully this is the first of many tips as we kind of get into this and I figure this out, because this is totally new to me. God bless.